A word of warning. If you're easily offended by cannibalism, death, torture, and fascinating facts about the human body, this series may not be for you. Therefore, listener discretion is advised. Cannibalism. Could you eat a whole human being? With the help of a doctor, a scientist, and a chef, I set out to see if it's possible. Cannibalism. Part 16. The Lungs. Are they as tasty and light as a Victoria sponge? Or like chewing a set of bagpipes? 2014, Sherman, Texas. Andre Lee Thompson murdered his estranged wife, Laura Boren, and their son Andre Lee, age 4, and 1-year-old daughter, Leah Marie. Believing they had demons inside of them, he cut open their chests, removed their hearts, threw them away in the rubbish bin, and later he gouged out his own eyes. But with no medical training, he initially removed part of his wife's lung, by mistake. We know where our heart is because we can feel it beat. But with the whole chest moving as we breathe, to the average person, inside of the thoracic cavity would be an indistinguishable mess of bloody organs. Weighing a kilo, lungs are 9 inches long, or 10.5 inches when expanded, stretching from the collarbone to the 6th rib down. And as the second largest organ in the chest after the liver, it's hard to miss. As a key part of our respiratory system, lungs hold an average of 1.5 pints of air in its 6-litre capacity. And like the kidneys, our lungs are asymmetrical, with the right lung being larger and fitted with an additional lobe. As a biological wonder, your lungs process 20,000 breaths a day, roughly 11,000 litres of air, the same as 2,400 balloons. With each breath taking 12 to 20 minutes to process any noxious gases, convert it into safe breathable oxygen, and to expel it as carbon dioxide. Lungs are the only organs that float. You can live with only one. And we don't consciously breathe, as the medulla oblongata, part of the brainstem, triggers us to inhale. And although we believe that our chest expanding is due to it filling with air, inhalation is actually caused by the diaphragm moving our organs to increase or decrease space for the lungs. In animal terms, lungs are offal, and although there's no guidelines by the NHS on how much lung is safe to eat, for Paleolithic cannibals, lungs could only provide 1,600 calories, enough for 2/3 of a day. In 2013, Abu Sakar, a Syrian rebel commander, cut out the heart of his enemy and ate it before his baying men. But when quizzed by the press, he later claimed it could have been a liver or a piece of lung, which is an easy mistake to make, as the lobe of the left lung is similar in size, shape, and position in the chest. In England, since the BSE crisis of 1989, when meat infected with mad cow disease entered the food chain, it's been illegal to sell the uncooked lungs of animals, as fluids like phlegm may enter the lung during slaughter. But let's not forget, our respiratory system produces 1.5 litres of mucus a day. If prepared correctly, by removing the fat and washing it out by inflating it and soaking it in salt water, lungs can be quite elastic and chewy, with a spongy texture like firm tofu. They're a pink reddish red when they're raw, owing to 300 billion oxygen-rich capillaries. But when they're cooked, they turn a sickly grey colour. Given its texture and taste, many chefs choose to tenderize it, season it with a strong spice, and slice up the bronchial pipe as it has the texture of a rare steak. With so many disgusting parts of the human body to digest, if a cannibal simply opened a cookbook, added the lungs, heart and liver to some oats, onions, herbs and spices, in 5 hours they'd have a 5-kilo haggis. And once they've lubricated their pals with enough whiskey, linked arms, and sung a Rabbi Burns poem that nobody knows the words to. By dawn, all of the evidence would have been scoffed. There's a reason why, in certain cultures, lungs are heavily disguised or disposed of. They're disgusting. The look, the colour, the texture, and the flavour. Not to mention what they contain. Lungs are one of our filtration systems, processing harmful gases like carbon monoxide and fibres like asbestos. And although few blood disorders are contracted by ingestion, if the corpse had died of a transmissible bacterial or viral infection like bronchitis, influenza, or tuberculosis, would a cannibal eat it? And with 2.5 million people diagnosed with lung cancer every year, would they even know what a tumour looks like? My friend, the unnamed GP, suggested eating a vape smoker, as they've already pre-flavoured their lungs with either strawberry, chocolate or vanilla, which is much more preferable than a cigarette smoker, who with just one packet of 20 a day, filters 250 millilitres or 8.5 fluid ounces of tar through their lungs every year, as well as lead, acetone, ammonia, hexamine, and poisons like formaldehyde, arsenic, and cyanide. As dangerous vectors for disease, animal lungs are often destroyed, or cooked at high temperatures, they're used in cattle feed. So unless a cannibal wants to risk getting sick, prepare it well, slice it finely, tenderize it, give it a strong seasoning, and deep fry it, as its spongy texture will make it like crackling. There are few cases of cannibals willingly eating lungs. In April 2002, Antron Singleton, a US rapper known as Big Lurch, killed his roommate and ripped open her chest. His teeth marks were found on her face and her lungs. And although undetermined, human remains were later found in his stomach. But having been on PCP, a mind-altering drug, it's uncertain if he knew what he was doing or why. Join me tomorrow to explore the organ which a cannibal may savour with a nice Chianti, the liver.